This video will help you improve your business proposal. Since we provide examples about bringing a new retirement community to Lawrence, you cannot write your business proposal about this topic. The business proposal is your final project in this class. This is your last chance to demonstrate all that you've learned this semester. While the writing coaches and your instructor will provide feedback to guide your writing and point out areas for improvement, it is your job to create a quality proposal that demonstrates the 5 principles of business writing. This video explains how to improve your proposal in these 5 areas. In addition to reviewing the examples here, please review the assignment guidelines and rubric. Start with a persuasive title to immediately explain the business to recruit. The first example here is vague. It is not clear what business the reader should bring to Lawrence. The second example is better. By just reading the title, the reader knows the purpose of the proposal. Your proposal will cover these 5 topics. Include the 5 sections in this order. Each section should have a heading. The executive summary is 1 paragraph. Here, use the heading of Executive Summary. Include at least 2 paragraphs of information under each of the 5 topics. Subheadings are not required in your proposal. Each paragraph should be 4 to 7 sentences. Do not use the topics listed on the assignment guidelines as the headings in your proposal. Instead, write a heading for each topic that shows the key idea for that section. Just by reading your title and headings, the reader should know the overall argument for why to bring your selected business to Lawrence. Follow the examples here to capitalize your headings. Include a 1-paragraph executive summary at the start of your proposal. Write your summary last, after you write the 5 sections. Your summary should highlight your key findings from each of the 5 topics. Cite at least 3 sources in the summary. You can use evidence in the summary that you will later use in the proposal. Use compelling evidence in the summary to immediately persuade the reader that your selected business is a smart choice for Lawrence. While the first example here does cite a source, it does not use specific evidence to grab the reader's attention. The second sentence is a better example of how to use evidence in your summary to convince the reader to read your proposal. You need to find, use, and cite quality evidence to create an effective proposal. The research summary video explains how to use the library research guide. As noted on the rubric, you need to explain the credibility of each source the first time you use it in the proposal. The examples here show how to explain the credibility of the source in the text of the sentence. If you use 10 sources in your proposal, you will have 10 sentences that explain the source. Explain the credibility of the source the first time you use it in the proposal. Then, when you use the same source later, you can just use the source number at the end of the sentence. You do not need to highlight the text in your proposal. I've highlighted it here to make it clear where the writer is explaining the source credibility. Avoid making vague claims. Instead, use evidence. The example sentences here are vague. They make claims but don't provide evidence to support each claim. The questions in red show the type of evidence to add to improve your proposal. A persuasive proposal will use multiple sources in each paragraph. While these example paragraphs have the required 4 sentences, they each only have 1 source. You do not need to highlight the text in your proposal. This is just highlighted here to show where evidence is used. The non-highlighted text shares vague information and repeats ideas. To improve these paragraphs, the writer should remove vague and repetitive information and instead add evidence. This example shows how to effectively use multiple sources in a paragraph to persuade the reader. There are 3 credible sources here to provide information about the industry and consumer trends. The proposal requires two visual elements. One of these elements is a comparison cities table. The second visual should be a chart, graph, or table that quickly conveys information to the reader. While this photo might be an effective visual in a presentation or blog, it is not the best visual to use in the proposal. This is a better visual to use. The example sentence here shows how to cite the source and reference this in the text. It should be clear how your visual relates to your persuasive argument. You are welcome to create your own visual element. Here, the writer used evidence from 4 sources to create a visual showing the population growth in the over 65 demographic. In the Comparison Cities table, you will compare 4 cities on your 4 selected criteria. Follow this example to format your table. Include the source number after each piece of evidence. Include these sources on your reference list. While 10 sources are required in the proposal, you are welcome to use additional sources as needed. These criteria were selected because they relate to the retirement community industry. For your proposal, select 4 criteria that relate to your industry. Review the research summary video for information about selecting and researching your comparison cities. Organize your proposal so that all information in each section relates to the topic for that section. This paragraph starts out with information about the industry, but the highlighted text discusses the Lawrence population. All information in this section should be about the industry and consumer trends. Move the Lawrence population information to the next section. Look back to the Library Research Guide if you need to find additional evidence about a topic. You do not need a conclusion for your proposal. Just end with the Marketing Strategies section. Please review all assignment materials and comments on your past assignments as you continue to improve your business proposal. After you've reviewed all the materials, please reach out with questions. We are happy to help.